This is the No More Wasted Days podcast, and we're your hosts, Sarah Kaufman Bradstreet
and Heather PG. Grab your favorite NA drink and listen as we share vulnerable stories so you never feel alone on your alcohol-free journey.
And gain insights from us as we break down our most used tips and strategies that have kept us alcohol-free.
It's time to break free from wasting any more of your days to the drinking, blackout, hangover cycle.
Welcome to another episode of the No More Wasted Days podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sarah.
I'm Heather.
And we are super excited to talk to you today about my favorite thing. It is my all-time favorite thing that I do to take care of myself, meditation. And maybe some of you just rolled your eyes. And I'm hoping that by the end of this, you don't roll your eyes anymore at the idea of meditation, because I truly believe, this is going to sound super corny, I think that if everybody in the world took time to meditate daily, it would change the whole vibe of the world, and it would just be a much more calm place to live.
I agree. I totally agree. I want to say to those who rolled their eyes, as probably I did when I first started getting curious about more things to add to my toolbox, I, number one, am oddly fascinated by celebrity culture. Fun fact about Heather. And I watch a lot of documentaries and interviews, and I mean all of them, but I really look up to Oprah, Bradley Cooper. I could go on and on, but y'all get the point. What I noticed, and this was last year, what I noticed is every single one of them talked about meditation as a piece of their success.
That's what I have found too. When I listen to people talk, they talk about practicing gratitudes. They talk about meditation. Those are the two things that I hear all the time. And they're the two things that I try to keep constant in my life.
Yes.
So we're going to dive all into it. We're going to talk about how it incorporates into our lives. I'm going to tell you guys a little history about meditation, the effects of meditation on the brain, because it is a brain changer, which means it's a game changer, right? So I just thought of that. Wasn't that a good one?
That was a really good one. And I am recovering from bronchitis still, and I'm trying not to laugh really hard. So thank you for that chuckle.
Oh, good. Right when I said it, I was like, that is the dorkiest thing in the world. The inner teacher in me came out right there.
I love it.
So before we dive in, I was in choir rehearsal last night, and we're singing this song that's really quiet. It's a super quiet song. And at the end, it like unleashes. It becomes this loud thing, and then it becomes quiet again, right? And we're all finally getting it. And when we were practicing it in the beginning, we would all sing really loud, and it was chaotic, and it was hard. It wasn't connecting, right? But last night we were really getting it. And one of the guys said, it's like you're having to tame a wild steed. I think that's what he said. I'm probably getting this wrong a little bit. But he was saying when you're quiet, you actually can control it better. You can maintain the feel for the song. And I thought, this is just like in sobriety, when you get quiet and you listen to yourself through meditation, you actually feel more of a control on it. So when you really zero in on it and you're like, this is a quiet moment, I'm going to be reflective. I'm going to really get to know who I am. I think that's what meditation is. And that's what meditation gives you in a world that is super chaotic and it's loud all the time. But when you just stop and you get quiet for only 10 minutes a day, you start to have more of control over your environment. So I hope that that's kind of what you start to see in this. I hope that that story made sense too.
It made total sense to me. So I'll share a little bit about my meditation later. And if you have a particular sense of humor and you love cuss words, a friend of mine told me about a meditation on YouTube that is free that is called the F It meditation. Now, I'm saying this as a humorous kickoff to the episode, okay? I want y'all to really listen to all this awesomeness.
Because meditation doesn't have to be the most serious thing.
No. So if you're like, I don't know about this, what are they talking about? Type in F It meditation. It'll give you kind of the vibe of what meditation kind of sounds like. And if it doesn't make you laugh, I'll give you $1. So
I like that. I'm going to go look it up after this. I think maybe I've seen it. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay. So meditation in my life, I had tried it out a number of times. Before I quit drinking, brand new to my alcohol-free journey, I had tried it and it didn't quite stick. Now, when I first quit drinking, it actually was really sticking. Like I was finally hitting a good flow with it. I went past the 30-day mark of meditating. Like I was like, I am creating a habit and I really, really like this. I'm feeling the change. And then the pandemic happened and all of a sudden my kids were home and my schedule changed and the pandemic just shook us all, right? It just kind of it disrupted life in a major, major way. So that routine dropped. Then we moved and that did the same thing. I ditched my whole morning routine when we first moved. And no wonder I was depressed, anxious, all the things. And then I brought back my daily gratitudes first, my daily affirmations. And then in 2023, so we had lived here for about a year and a half, I put it on my vision board that I was going to start a meditation practice and make it consistent. I didn't say every day. I was just like, I want a consistent practice to start. So in the second week of January 2023, I started that out. I tried out the Unplug app because those were the meditations I had tried before and liked. And I did their 2-week free trial, which I actually have a 30-day free trial link for you that I'll put in the show notes. It's not an affiliate link. It's just something they give anybody who has the app to share with their friends and family. So I'll make sure you can try that out. But I love this app. So does Heather. If we could be affiliates, we would be, but they don't have an affiliate program yet. So that's my little plug there. But I started that January 2023, paid for their year-long membership after the 2-week free trial, and I have done it consistently since I've had that membership. Consistently for me looks like on the weekdays. On weekday mornings, I make sure I meditate. Sometimes it happens on the weekends, sometimes it doesn't. And it just has changed for me. How about you for meditation?
So, thanks to you, I started it consistently in February of 2023. And if I remember correctly, I asked if I could make like a little thread and make it a challenge. And it was really cool to have other folks join in, and it became a part of my routine. Now, I have to fess up. This year, I have not been consistent, and I'm going to make the podcast vow to the universe that starting today, I am going to become more serious. And I can see the difference in my clarity, mental health. I still do it, but it has fallen off
Yeah.
of my habit tracker and something I incorporate in my daily. So here's my accountability to the world.
We'll be checking in with you like we did with Sour Patch Kids.
Somebody needs to.
And if you guys don't know what we're talking about with the Sour Patch Kids, then you need to go back and listen to some of our earlier episodes.
Yes. Lord, that was a whole to do. Definitely
Right?
do so.
We both have struggles.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yes. Tell us all about meditation. I have purposefully not read a lot of this
Oh, okay.
so
Cool.
that I can hear it firsthand.
Cool. So I did quite a bit of research getting ready for this because I love this stuff. I've done this research before, but I did a little bit deeper dive. So just a brief history about meditation. It's actually the oldest form of self-improvement. I think that has to say something. Like if it's been around for a super long time, people are still doing it, it must be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And meditation is actually an ancient practice, and it's been practiced for thousands of years. Origins can be traced back as early as 5000 BCE in India. So
Wow.
it's like way before so many things, right? I do think that knowing those facts makes some people get a little overwhelmed, or maybe some people say, well, maybe this doesn't fit into my religious values because this is from a different culture or a different this or that, right? I want you to know that meditation can look a number of different ways. And they always say it's a practice. So that means there's no way to get perfect at it. You are always practicing it. And I think even when I was doing the research and I saw that it's an ancient practice, oh, cool, we can still keep getting better at it. Now we're going to dive into the effects that it has on our brain, which this is the stuff that makes me go, okay, I'll do it. This is the stuff that when I was learning about what the effects of alcohol on the brain, that made me go, okay, I'll quit it. Like the science stuff really gets me going. But before we dive into that, I just want to take a brief pause and invite you guys to the Daymakers community. Like Heather said, it's a community that lifts us up in all different ways. When we all got into meditation because I was getting really excited about it, and then Heather's like, let's make it into a little 30-day challenge. So we're always doing things to improve ourselves in the Daymakers community with a focus on sobriety being the forefront of all of that. What can we do to make our alcohol-free lives better? We have weekly group coaching calls. We have a private message thread. So check out the link in the show notes.
Yes. Come on, y'all.
Okay, so the effects on the brain, I have a few of them. In the show notes, I'm going to put the links to all of the different blogs that I looked at and all of the different things online. So if you're like, I want more, you can go find more, because there was so much that I had to pick some, because I was thinking people's time is precious. They don't want me to go on and on. So the first thing that it does is it increases gray matter in our brain. Studies have revealed that regular meditators show increased gray matter in the brain, and gray matter in the brain is a good thing, if you were wondering. The gray matter dense regions that tend to grow are located in the hippocampus, and this area of the brain is responsible for learning, memory, emotion regulation, and perspective taking. So, oh my gosh, when I was a drinker, my memory was really affected. I remember being like, I don't remember that detail. I don't remember that thing. And it wasn't even from when I would be drinking. It was like from parts of my workday where I just couldn't make my memories connect anymore. So I know that that part of my brain was being damaged by alcohol. So now if I can do something that's 10 minutes a day and start rebuilding that part of my brain, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. If I didn't know that it was helpful, I would have been raring and ready to go.
Yeah.
Today, just on hearing that alone.
Exactly. Just that little thing. So the next thing is that meditation enhances brain connectivity. So what all does that really mean? Studies show that meditators have increased connection from the prefrontal cortex and other brain regions involved in attention and executive function. These improved connections can lead to more efficient processing of information and better emotional regulation. So another thing with emotional regulation. So when you ditch alcohol, you have to learn how to manage all your emotions again without alcohol.
Yes.
Like what? All these emotions coming at you in HD, and some of them are great and some of them are really hard. So again, if you can do something that makes all the pathways start connecting, and you guys, 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day gives you these benefits.
Right. And I also want to say, for those who have ADHD or think that they may have ADHD, I do. And I have a really busy mind. It's busy in here. And at first I was like, but I have ADHD. I have a busy mind. How am I going to sit on the floor and do the pose and pay attention and the things? So I'm here to tell you, yes, it's a practice, as Sara said, and that's what it's for.
Yes, I know when people say, I can't quiet my brain for 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, you need this. Because I was that person.
This is a case where I will say, yes, if I can, you can. This is one case where I will say, without wavering, if I can quiet my brain for 2 minutes, you can too.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, when I started meditation, I think I set my timer, because when I first tried it, I would set a timer for 2 minutes. That was all I could even imagine. Now, I really like guided meditations, and I'm glad I found those, because I think they help when you have a busy brain, because they give you something to focus on. But even now, as I've done it more and more, I think I can meditate on my own. If I needed to, I could go through a sequence. I could make this work. So, yes. Oh my gosh, what Heather's saying. If you're the person saying, I have a busy brain, because I was that person. Like, a lot of tabs are always open on my computer and in my brain.
Yeah.
You need this.
For real.
We're talking to you.
Sarah's probably like, we do a podcast together and you help coach calls. Will you please get back on your meditation? Because it does help. And like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm not thinking that, just so you know. I know everybody's always got their own stuff happening, but I also know Heather is a huge believer in meditation too.
yes.
So meditation also reduces the size of the amygdala. So what the heck is the amygdala? The amygdala is involved in processing fear, and emotional responses. It has been noted that regular meditators show a reduction in size of the amygdala because of the decreased activation of the amygdala through regular meditation. So that was a lot of me having to say amygdala, so I hope that that made sense for you. But man, if you can decrease the size of something that's helping you process fear and make it seem not as fearful, and you don't have as big of an emotional response to it, do it, okay? Because it says that when you decrease the size of the amygdala, it means you decrease in stress and anxiety and you become less reactive to stressors.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I am going to get back in the motivation to meditate. And this is why. This is actually why. The fear and just reducing stressors. Y'all, if I can carve out 10 minutes a day that I would spend spiraling on whatever I'm stressing about, I'm doing myself a big favor by picking those 10 minutes to do
Yeah.
a meditation.
And it doesn't even have to be the one thing and I know I talk about the Unplug app a lot, but I'm sure the Calm app is like this. I bet Headspace is like this. You can search by length. So if you're like, I only have 5 minutes, but I gotta do this, you can search 5 minute meditations, scroll really quick, find a title that appeals to you, done. You're doing it, you're helping yourself. There's even ones that are like 1 minute in the Unplug app, and I'm sure that that exists on all the apps.
Yeah.
So, the very last thing I want to tell you, and again, there were so many more effects on the brain. So, if you're interested, go look them up. It slows the aging of the brain. And I am so here for that. Like, the longer I can live, the better. My daughter has told me that they're starting to say that people will just start living past 100 now just because of the science. Like, that the average age is just going to go up and up. But what if you can live with a healthy brain that whole time? So, there's these things in our brain called telomeres. If I'm saying this wrong, tell me. Message me on social media. So, they are the protective caps on chromosomes and they shorten as you age. So, the shorter they are, that means the age of your brain is older, if that makes sense. But it's been shown that meditators have longer telomeres. So that means that you're slowing the aging process and becoming more overall healthier in your brain. Guys, it's like it's all right there. If you want your brain to become healthy, this is something you can do.
I mean, there's a strong family history on one side for dementia, and I have no scientific evidence to support what I'm getting ready to say. And it's just a theory. Like, if I can do this to try to have more quality days in my life versus quantity, this is also, no pun intended, a no-brainer.
I also have a really strong history of dementia on one side of my family, and watching my grandma go through dementia and just watching it take her memory was one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
And when I think about aging, that's one of the things that scares me the most. So if I can do anything to keep my brain healthy, I'm going to try, because the thing is, there's no harm. There's just no harm in meditating. So if it
Yeah.
might help, then do it. But like Heather said, we're not doctors. We don't have scientific research on that, but why not? Why not try it out?
Yeah, definitely. So I want to invite y'all to check out the links in the show notes. Check out the Daymakers community. It's $7 for 7 days. It is cheaper than a bottle of wine. If you want to work one-on-one with me, I work with folks that come through the Daymakers community. And if you're a gray area drinker, sober curious, drinking daily, chronic relapse, or if you have some alcohol-free time, I can help you with some knowledge about alcohol and self-discovery, and we'll manage the summer without drinking.
So, how does meditation actually support your alcohol free life? Like, I think I already gave you so much right there on just the brain health portion. And obviously, that supports your alcohol free life. But let's dive just a little bit deeper. I have 3 areas that meditation can positively affect your life. And the first one is meditation reduces stress and anxiety. I think this is the first one people think of. Like, oh, if I meditate more, I bet I won't be as stressed. And guess what? It does that. It works in that way for you. And stress is one of the number one reasons people relapse. But regular meditation promotes relaxation and a sense of calm. I think of my daily meditation as providing me with a good base layer of managing my day to day stress.
Hmm.
Obviously, I still get stressed, But it's just that little protective layer each day. So when I don't want to do it, I'm like, do it. You don't know what's going to come at you today. This might help. Okay. It also helps me when I'm really struggling with stress and in the short term. Like if I'm really struggling with something major, I don't go do a full blown meditation. I'm not like, let me step away. I need to go meditate. I wish, I mean, I think that sounds great. I just don't have the time in my day to do that. But I do have breathing techniques from the daily meditations that I can practice. I have ways that I can relax the muscles in my face that make me feel more relaxed more quickly. So it gives me so many things.
I love that you have face relax exercises.
Yeah, they help a lot.
Huh. I was to now old. So I really encourage this, and I'm going to live it to give it in the here and now to put this in their relapse prevention plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with alcohol triggers and the emotional triggers that lead us to that craving and that diving for the first alcoholic drink we can find,
Mm-hmm.
it can ground you and then you're able to keep it moving. And just to be honest, like Sara just talked about face relaxant stuff that you can do. You can do some of this stuff anywhere.
And people don't even know you're doing it when you're doing it. It doesn't mean you have to do this
Mm-hmm.
huge breathing exercise and everybody's going to hear you. There's things you can do that no one even sees. So the next thing that it does is it improves self-awareness. I think this goes into what I was talking about at the beginning. If you can step back and get really quiet, you actually have more control over the situation. And when you can step back and be quiet, you finally get to know who you are. You finally get to see who you are without alcohol. And that's a big thing. This type of self
Gotcha.
awareness allows you to start to understand yourself. And the more self understanding that you have, the more easily you can recognize cravings, triggers, and begin setting more clear boundaries to help you avoid alcohol. And I think that this is just huge. I keep saying it over and over, but 5 to 10 minutes a day is going to give you a whole bunch.
Right. And I hadn't really thought about it from this perspective, just in the quick glance that I did to prep for this recording. And I did notice over the past month, I learned a little bit more about chakra meditation. And I did a few days in a row, and I fell off. And during those times that I was doing it, I gained more clarity about a really stressful situation in my life. So I'm with you.
Yeah. I know I hadn't really thought of the self awareness that you gain by getting quiet and really stepping inside your own brain, because I think that those of us with a brain that's moving a million miles an hour, and it's a lot of us, like if you're a mom, you got it. If you have a job, you got a brain that's working a million miles an hour, right? If you are a human
Mm-hmm.
being, your brain's moving a million miles an hour. So when you can really sit and slow that down for a second or even observe the busyness, suddenly you get to hear what's in that busyness and it opens up so many things to your life. And it's just a really cool gift. The last thing that it does is it enhances emotional regulation. I have learned so many types of methods to manage my anger, stress, and anxiety through meditation. And I am not going to tell you I'm perfect. I have moments where I'm angry for the whole day and sometimes I can't even figure out why. Most of the time I know why. But I will just be in this state. But I have tools that I can use to try to get myself eased out of that state. And I use these tools throughout my day, and it makes it so much easier to not choose alcohol to manage my stress, to not turn to
Yes.
a substance. I'll work on not turning
Yes.
to food for stress at some point in my life.
Right. I had this day on Monday and it was Memorial Day, but that's not why I was angry and stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I led a Daymakers call on rituals of self connection. And one of the points was emotional regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest, I was not 100% emotionally regulated when I got on the call. And after talking and hearing familiar voices and hearing the words come out of my mouth and in transparency saying, like, I've had one doozy of a day, I started to calm down. And then one of the techniques that I shared, I used that night, which was a visualization technique, which is kind of like a meditation, right?
Yeah.
it was like a huge aha moment for me. So that is a very recent example of how it's helpful to have these tools and step a little bit out of your comfort zone and learn this.
Oh my gosh, it helps me so, so much. Sometimes I think, what was I like before I started meditating almost daily? I must have been a monster to be around. But, and I will say too, like I have been battling, I've talked about it really briefly on TikTok and Instagram, battling side effects from perimenopause that are bringing up a lot of anxiety in me that are very similar to the anxiety I had as a drinker. And I have still been keeping my meditation practice because I know that it's not going to hurt it. It's only going to help it as I really get to the root of everything and start figuring out what's going on, right? There's something happening in my brain and with my hormones, and I can get to the bottom of it. But in the meantime, I can also keep my meditation practice going, and it helps me so, so much. And I will say that sometimes I do, if I know I can, I do step away and do a meditation. I know I said I don't do that all the time, but if I know I can, I do. Like when my kids go into their after school activities and I'm in the car, sometimes I'll pop on a meditation. And at first I was like, what if somebody sees me in my car? I'm like, they're going to see you with your eyes closed. Like they're going to think you're sleeping. You're a tired mom, you're taking a nap. It helps me so much. And then when they get back, I'm ready. I'm ready to be a mom again and keep going. So it's just a really cool tool. So how can you fit it into your day? I know I keep saying it's only 5 to 10 minutes a day, but let's be real. It's hard to find those 5 to 10 minutes a day. Like we're all going. And it's just a matter of making it a priority to you. I don't like it when people say that, like, you just have to make it a priority.
Right.
But let's figure out how you can really, really figure out a time for it. Like, put it in the calendar, say, this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it at this time and really commit to it. For me, I added it into my morning routine. Now, that doesn't work for everybody. I know Heather does it in the evening. So it's just really going, when's a time in my day where I know I can be consistent, where I know I'm in control of that time in the day? For me, that's the morning. That's when I make it happen. It is the first part of my morning routine. I work really hard to not look at social media before I get on. I have to remind myself there's nothing on social media for you right now. Everything's in your meditation app. So just figure out the time and really own that time. Okay. I have to do it in the morning because that's before I have to be a mom. It's before I have to be a house builder, a business owner, etc. And then I put that time on my calendar and I stick to it. I made a commitment to myself that I would stick to it for 15 days. And that's what I want you guys to do. Say, I'm going to do it for 15 days before I say, this doesn't work for me. Because I bet if you stick with it for 15 days, you're going to go, oh, this does work for me. Another thing, if you're using an app, is that it's probably going to do a streak count for you. And I am very motivated by a streak count.
Me too.
And the one thing I like with the unplug meditation is it tells me, like, you've done 389 meditations. And I'm like, that is cool. So it does also tell you how many consecutive days you've done, which I always like. So when do you meditate? When did you work at it? When you have it as a consistent thing?
I ideally would do it in the morning and a reset when my daughter gets out of school for summer camp, and then in the evening.
Yeah.
And my alarm clock, when it goes off in the morning, it says, "You're a queen with a crown." I share that to say it's an affirmation and it makes me happy. And
Yeah.
it's a quick way to get it and see it. So now, incrementally during the day, when it is appropriate, it's going to say, "You're a queen. Now go meditate on my timer that I set."
Yeah. I love that.
And my daughter's 4, and I have a lot of jobs. I wear many hats just like we all do. So the cool thing about the 1 to 2 minute, it's not a full-on 30-minute commitment of time or
Mm-hmm.
kind of setting myself up to fail. Like, I know I'm not going to do this for 30 minutes. I can barely do one thing for 30 minutes.
Right.
So just like dipping your toe in the water was helpful for me that led it to stick. And as a person who has fallen off the wagon, I can tell you it's possible.
It's possible to get back on the wagon because I've fallen off the meditation wagon for sure. Like when the pandemic happened, it took a back seat and I found my way back to it. So some ways to make meditation easy, because I think sometimes people really, really overthink this. They're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. I want you to do guided meditation. I've talked about the Unplug app a lot. I will put that link to the 30 days free I do think they link it to like the account that's with your phone, right? So you've got to be responsible for being like, I'm going to hit cancel before I get charged on that if you don't really like it. But the link is there, 30 days free. You can try it out and see if it's working. I know with most apps, you can have a certain trial period. So check those out. Another thing you can do is check out the free meditations that are on YouTube and possibly on Spotify. The one thing to consider on that is that they might have ads in the middle of them because that's how YouTube creators make a little money. It would be a little disruptive if you're going through your meditation and an ad starts, but you can also have the premium YouTube subscription and that won't happen. So that's up to you.
Yeah. I think the ones I know the ones I use on YouTube don't have ads in the middle, because if they did, then I would totally have a squirrel moment. But don't quote me on that, because that's me and my own YouTube. So y'all definitely look at the options available to you.
And one thing too on YouTube is you can see where they're going to place the ads. Like before you watch it, there's like a little, and I know this from being a teacher, being like, I got to be ready to click off that ad and that ad because I never knew what was going to be thrown at me. But a lot of creators too, they have the choice to not put, I know this because me and my husband vlog on YouTube. You have the choice to not put ads within the the
Oh.
the meditation, so there might be ads before it and after it. So just a little heads up there. So I don't know. That was a strange tangent. But, and one thing too with YouTube and Spotify is sometimes you find whole playlists that are totally free and can link you with somebody that you love their meditations and you just love what they do. And they can be somebody who really inspires you. So check that out. All right, I'm going to dive into 3 examples of very simple meditations. So you don't even have to try an app if you don't want to. You can just go through these. So the first, anytime you start a meditation, you're going to relax your body through breathing. So you're going to breathe in, and when you exhale, you're going to relax your body. And the ways that I do this, and these are those tips for relaxing my face when I am feeling stress. When you exhale, first imagine your eyes softening. Imagine your eyebrows pulling apart. That imagery always makes my face go, oh, it's like my whole forehead melts. Then on an exhale, allow your tongue to drop. I bet you're going to find out your tongue is plastered to the roof of your mouth a lot,
Mine was.
right? My husband's like, that's so genius. I was like, yeah, it feels so good. When you drop that tongue, suddenly your jaw is just feeling so good. Then if you feel tension on any specific body part, breathe into that body part and then imagine that the stress is releasing as you exhale from that body part. I carry a lot of tension in my shoulders, so I just picture the air going right into my shoulders, and as it goes out, taking some of that stress away. You can do that on any body part. Once you're all set up with a few breaths, you've done all that, you can go into one of these 3 meditations. So the first one is a body scan. You can imagine a bright gold light, and you're going to start at your head, and you're going to work that gold light all through your body. So down your head, into your neck, through one arm, down to the fingertips, back up, go to the other arm, then have it go down your chest, stomach, and then down to one leg, or you can do both at once. I've done it 2 different ways. But think of each part of your body getting touched by this gold light, either energizing it or relaxing it. You can choose. And just going over each body part, saying, I'm on my upper leg now. Now the light's on my knee. Now the light's on my shin. Now the light's on my foot. It's on my big toe. Now it's going to go over to the other big toe when it can come up. So you have a lot of choice. I like the imagery of the light because it makes me think of something going over my whole body. That's a really awesome one to do if you're laying in bed and you can't get your body to relax. Just think of that gold light going all over your body. The next one is a mantra or affirmation meditation. These are my favorites because my brain is going a million miles a minute. So it gives my brain something to do. So have a meditation. You've gone through your body relaxing. You've done a few inhales and exhales. You're feeling really good. So now start focusing on I am, or in Sanskrit, it's so hum. So when I inhale, I think I, and when I exhale, I think am. And I just repeat that in my brain. And every now and then I lose it. I think about that I have to take my son to his piano lesson this evening. And then I go, oh, you lost it. And then I go back to breathing in I, exhaling am. Or you can inhale, I am, and exhale, calm. Or I am on the inhale, patient on the exhale. Whatever you want right there, right? Today I did I am energized because I was feeling tired this morning when I woke up. Slowing down is another one. Think slowing on the inhale, down on the exhale. I love this one. I do this one when I am stressed and when I'm just standing there. People don't know that I'm thinking slowing down. Last one for abundance, thank you. Just keep repeating thank you, thank you, thank you. It doesn't have to go with your breath. It's just something you're repeating. Now, don't do all of these at once. Pick one of those. Connect it to your breath and just focus on that. The very last meditation for you. So we've had the body scan and the mantras and affirmations. The last one that you can try is this is my favorite for the people who say my mind is too busy. We're going to categorize your thoughts. Oh my gosh. Sitting and letting thoughts come in. You want them to come in and you're just going to categorize them. You're not going to give them a feeling. You're not going to give them an emotion. You're just going to categorize them. My favorite way to do this, and I actually heard Rob Lowe say this on a podcast years ago, random, but I got to credit him, right? Picture a river flowing with leaves on that river. And when a thought comes up, because it will, but have this imagery. You've got this river, the leaves are flowing on it, and you're just watching them. And then all of a sudden, a thought will pop in your brain because that's how brains work. And you just give it that was a planning thought. Now put it on a leaf and let it go down the river. Oh, that was a work thought. Put it on a leaf, let it go down the river. Oh, that one was a family thought. So you're just giving it like, oh, this is part of that category. Oh, that's something about the build thought. Make it specific to your life. You can also do this by picturing your brain as a closet and you're going to organize all your thoughts. So you can have a messy closet to start out with, and you're actually going to think like, what are my major thoughts right now? What bin can I put them in? So one of my big thoughts right now is getting ready for the certificate of occupancy. So I might have that as a bin. And as I'm doing this meditation, I'll go, oh, that's a build thought. Put it in that bin. Oh, that's an end of the school year thought for my kids. Put it in the family bin. It's a really cool way to organize your brain. And I think a lot of people think meditation is thinking about nothing, and that's totally impossible. Every meditator will tell you that. It's just not possible. So do this one that organizes those thoughts instead. Doesn't give those thoughts emotions, just organizes them. So I hope those really help. Again, that was the body scan, a mantra or affirmation, and then sitting and letting the thoughts come in and categorizing them.
I love that. Thank you, and thank Rob Lowe.
Right? Isn't that, oh my gosh, that's my imagery I always go to, even on a guided meditation.
Yeah, and I do a lot of work with myself and the folks that I work with one-on-one about putting things in a container or a file, like in your filing cabinet at work, and labeling them. And this is an extension of that in a more meditative way.
I'm glad that one helps. That's like one of my favorites. And they have a lot of examples of those on various apps that you can see where it's just like, oh, this must be one about categorizing the thoughts. So I hope that those help you guys. I really hope that after hearing all this, you are less overwhelmed by the idea of meditation.
I think it could be cool for y'all. I'm going to give y'all a challenge. If you're anything like me, you need accountability or accountability. Try the 15 days, like Sara said, and have your accountability friend. And then we would love to hear what you think.
Yes, that would be so cool. If you try a meditation, tag us on social media with it. Take a screenshot from the meditation app and tag Heather and I, or the No More Wasted Days podcast does have its own social media, and me and Heather do see those. So it's a great way to communicate with us there. And speaking of social media, if you haven't already, be sure to follow both Heather and I on social media for more inspiration about being alcohol-free and overall just bettering your life. The links to all of our social medias are always in the show notes. And if you have not already, give this show a rating. It really, really helps us stay present in the algorithms for different podcasts. And it helps it show up for more people so they can be helped by this as well. So if you enjoy the content, hit that rating button, hit the subscribe or follow button. It really means a lot to us.
Until next week. Bye, y'all.